Yeah, $10 per meeting.
Pretty cheap.
I think that was, someone was telling me, is it Kingfield?
When's the last time that was updated, you think? The $10, when's the last time that was updated?
It's just a token. It's not really a sum of money. It's just there to solidify that you're a town employee. Why? It's a liability.
Good evening. We'll bring this second meeting for the month of February for the Skowhegan Planning Board to order. We do have a quorum. We're missing 2 members, Michelle and Jeff. I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes from the previous meeting.
So moved.
We have a second. Is there any corrections or additions? Seeing none, we'll vote. All those in favor, please raise your hand. Motion passes. Under site plan subdivision, flood hazard, and shoreline zoning, we have first a discussion and decision on a minor site plan review for development of a medical cannabis cultivation facility to be located at 667 Waterville Road, Skowhegan, Maine. Who is representing this project?
Yeah, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and honorable select board. My name is Albert Kang. I'm the one I'm the applicant for the minor site plan review, which was rejected, and I'm appealing.
Okay. The ordinance states that when such is appealed, you are to bring it before us, and we treat it just like a major site review. And so I would like you to tell us about it, since other than the paperwork that we've received, nobody has presented this project to us yet. And so could you please do that for us?
Yes. Can I explain to our predicament and how we get to here? Can I narrate all that explain?
Yes, go right ahead.
Well, sometimes in 2024, end of 2024, I came before your board, and I did ask, like, does Skowhegan allow medical marijuana cultivation? But I was told that no, flat out. So then after a few months, at the beginning of last year, 2025, we managed to talk to Brian Bellevue. At that time, he was the code enforcement officer. He says that depending on the location from the town, we can grow medical marijuana. According to Mr. Brian Bellevue, telling my wife, then he shows the ordinance whereby restricted location, and our location is allowed, So then that is only then did we went and apply from OCP, the Office of Maine Cannabis Policy, for our tenant. And before we did that, at that meeting, my wife asked Mr. Bellevue, do we have any permitting or anything we need to do, but to be is it allowed? So he said, go ahead. We weren't told that we need to have a minor site plan review or anything like that. He just said, go ahead. So we understand it. We want to make sure that we deal with a lot of different towns too, because we are consultant for people to get license from the OCP. So we know that different towns have different ordinance, all kinds, and some towns doesn't even bother. So I just want to underline that in no way or form we want to go and ignore or break any rules or regulation of any town, because we represent our client. We want them to be, they have to abide by all these rules and regulation, be it the state or the town. So I want to make it clear that we, as Mr. Brian Bellevue, whether we are allowed and it's safe because our location is allowed, and is there anything else we need, anything we need to do to be allowed, He says, go ahead. That is, then last year, around March or April, we applied for the license from OCP. They came and inspect, they approved it, and our tenants started to cultivate legally. So sometimes last year, July, we brought in a trailer because our tenant commute, so we want to make it easier for them. So we brought in a trailer. That is where I would call, we opened up a proverbial can of worm. Because when we have the trailer in, the existing canal, the two building, one of the two building, they have a WC. And my main contractor started to dig because they want to kind of tidy it up with the new trailer. And as they were digging, we found that the previous, halfway to we thought they were tied to our residence house septic tank. But halfway to, we found that the pipe is all busted. And also it doesn't connect to our septic tank, it just drained to the ditch. So of course, before we get the trailer in, we went and met with the new code enforcement officer, Aaron Crocker. We asked for the permit to get for the trailer, and then we fill up all what's needed paperwork, and then but then after when we found that there's no tie into our septic tank, we have to have a new septic tank in place. And it costs us about almost $25, but then $25,000, and then we went ahead, out of pocket. So, and then Mr. Crocker was saying that, since your building is cultivating marijuana as opposed to the previous owner, which is the kennel, this is where we have to have this minor site plan review. And he stipulated that, because our building is long, for both building, we need to have each building at the end of the building have to have two egress. We did that. And also he said that, he knows that internally the building at the kennel has an internal drain because they were washing the dogs and all that. For us to fill it up, I think I filled it up. And he also says that, because all the egress have to have what they call exit sign. And we are in the midst of finishing off the first building because we have Mr. Michael Perkins together with the state inspector, Peter Pelletieri, who came to our place to inspect, and he advised my contractor, Mr. Perkins, to follow the code, because I realized that my tenant were wiring it all wrong, and we wouldn't have that, because if anything would happen to that building, our insurance would not pay us. So we got them to do it right. So we are in the midst of finishing the first building, and we are going to get the second building finished up and signed off by the state inspector. And this, whatever that he wanted, Mr. Crocker wanted us to do, we went above and beyond because we want to be compliant. And up to not so far, and also he says all egress need to have a fire extinguisher. Good. Then he also told me that, because the fire department need a lockbox so that they can access the key, because we have a master key for our buildings. But he never informed us. We got in and bought a lockbox, a fire department lockbox from Amazon. And then we were told by the chief, fire chief, that, no, that's not going to work. Okay. And he got me a form. We bought the what do you call, the lock box that is he specified. So in fact today his man came over and inspected it, and he said everything's fine. So that is the issue. On the 27th, this is the only reason that we got from the review board that day, the reason why they reject. Only Brian Beverly agreed to my application. The fire chief did not, because he says the lockbox was not in place. But then, hey, it's not that I didn't want to have it in the right lockbox, because I wasn't told. And the sheriff didn't say nothing. And there's this other guy, I do not know his name. He's supposed to be like DOT, and something like about how a car coming into our property. We have 4.5 acre. They're more than, and from our location, we are not in anyone's way. People can come in and out without any obstruction to anyone. So also, I also pointed out to the sheriff that we have multiple camera, excuse me, multiple light, motion detector lights, multiple. Because we know that in our business, for our tenants' sake, we got to have all these safety measure. And on the 27th, my neighbor, next door neighbor, Mike Baker, came in with his wife to lend us support. Tonight he's not here because his wife have to get up early because she works in a hospital. So I didn't want to bother them. So basically, this is the predicament I'm in, and we are almost $75,000 out of pocket. The 25,000 that we never thought that we have to put in a septic tank, but we did it because it's necessary. And also we have all the permitting, we all have the license, septic tank designer signing it off, and we gave that paperwork to Aaron Crocker too. And so I like to say, Brian Bellevue was the only one who agreed that day and say we went above and beyond in order to comply. Because our job as a consultant, we have to advise our client to be compliant. How could we advise our client to be compliant when we are not? So in no way or form are we trying to break any rules or regulation. But then I was kind of flabbergasted and gobsmacked because only one who gave us any reason for the rejection is the chief. It's rightly so, but then again, it's not our fault. If you told us that we need that box would be in place, and he wouldn't have the fire chief wouldn't have any reason to reject. And I pointed out to David, I think the sheriff, that we have multiple camera, multiple motion light detector, and the DOT guy never say anything. He just flat out rejected without so much as to do their homework or look at the papers, and see what's the reason that you reject. So that's, to me, is certainly, I don't know. I won't say anything other than it's to us, we felt it's not fair and right.
So let's sort of frame this in a way we can get our heads around. Your client, not you,
Tenant.
your client,
Our tenant and also our client.
okay, purchased what used to be the Blackman Kennel.
No,
That's the point.
we
You did.
my brother-in-law, my wife's brother, is the owner, and we live at the only residential house there, and we helping him to take care of the building, and so we lease that to our tenant, which is also our client, because we help them apply for the medical marijuana
Okay,
cultivation.
So you bought it off of Mr. Blackman.
Blackman?
Kennel.
Oh, yes, Mr. Blackman, yeah.
You bought it off of him, and then your tenant began to have a growing operation.
License.
In the property.
Yes.
How long ago did the growing operation?
That was last year, early spring, I think, April.
Okay, so the,
We weren't told, we asked. Because we know very well that different towns have different ordinance, rules and regulation, and some doesn't even have any. So we asked because we want to comply, we want to be compliant, But then when we spoke to the then code enforcement officer, Mr. Brian Bellevue, very specifically, is there anything we need to do? He said, go ahead. If he were to say, hey, you probably have to get a minor site plan review and things like that, we would have done that. We would have, But then the predicament is that I believe if I didn't bring the trailer in no one, we would not have to incur such.
And so, there was some issue with that, but you've got that straightened out, but now you're asking to expand the size of the grow op.
No, not at all. None at all.
That is not the situation. This is
It's the encompassing use of all the buildings, puts it over the 5,000 square foot threshold, which triggers the town site plan ordinance.
okay.
But
If I might, it was, I'm
Okay,
Tom
yes, sir,
Harris.
please.
Yes, thank you. I represent Mr. King. And the building is actually owned through a corporate entity, I believe, is that right? White is,
not Winter Suite.
Winter Suite is the LLC, right. So in any event, everything is fine now with the fire department. My understanding is the trailer, the mobile home that was moved in, for some of the workers who want to be there like overnight, that's what put it, I guess, over the footage limit. So that's really all we're talking about here. We're talking about, what's the discrepancy, Aaron, in terms of what the trailer adds to the current?
So it's not just a trailer.
Okay.
When we met back in August several times about them bringing a mobile home in, I told them to make sure they had a permit in place. They said they would. They talked to me several times about a free mobile home. We met again in first week of September. I asked them where the extent of what they were growing. It was the first kennel. That was all they were using. So when I was driving around during the day, headed to somewhere else, I drove by, noticed the mobile home on the property, which there was no permit for, because I expressly conveyed to them they needed a permit for a mobile home. We stopped up, and that's when I noticed the extent of the grow operation, not only from the front kennel to the back kennel with the mobile home, and the use of the garage as well for products for the grow operation. So it became then that adding up the square footage of all the buildings, the encompassing square footage was well over 5,000 square feet, so
So my question,
So that triggered the change of use situation?
The change, I was unaware of the previous usage from when it went from,
Uh-huh.
it was before my time, from when it went from the kennel. I was not familiar with the sale or whatnot was going on. So, I had asked them what was going on and knew what was going on. It was the extent of, because if they're not triggering over 5,000 square feet and they have licensing, 3 licenses up to 1,500 square feet, then they're not triggering an issue.
Uh-huh.
I do have a
So-
question.
but my question, I still don't think I ever got an answer. How much over square footage wise are they? I'm sorry, Tim.
It's
That's okay.
8,000.
They're over 5,000.
Okay, do we know by how much? 'Cause
They
I think
are-
that's important.
It's about 8,000.
Absolutely. They're
It's
at
about 8,000
9,064 square feet.
9,000.
They're on the threshold of being over to a major.
I do have a question. How does the mobile home, it's supposed to be for them to sleep. How would that be considered like part of the grow,
And those are questions that I have as well. It seems like some of the buildings that are sort of being encompassed into the entire operation really should not be, in my opinion, legally. I think the grow itself, we are limited, but I'm not so sure that, again, a mobile home should trigger this to begin with, but to the extent it did, I do think that he's complied with everything that the town has requested so far.
So the mobile home wouldn't have been, if there's 9,000 and some square feet, the mobile home isn't what triggered this. It might have been what brought it to attention,
yes.
Right.
but it wouldn't be what actually triggers the requirement to have a minor site plan review.
I see.
So, anybody here have any questions for them? Anybody here on the board?
Well, I guess this is for Aaron. So you're saying that they have a permit for 1,500 square feet? Is that
They have,
correct?
they have 3 licenses, each one is up to 1,500 square feet.
So that's 4,500 feet.
Correct.
And they're over 4,500 feet?
No, not at the moment.
So it's the trailer that,
They're using one, we've asked them to make sure they stay under their 5,000 square feet until they get through site plan review. So in order to move from the building they're at to use all the buildings on the property for their grow operation, they need a site plan permit. They need to comply with the site plan ordinance of the town of Scotty.
Do the three,
Oh, sorry.
do the 3 permits they have include the garage?
They're not permits, they're licenses.
May I-
through
may I-
state, Through the caregiver, registration program with the state of Maine, which also implies that on every permit that the state issues, it says the applicant has affirmed on the caregiver application that I have reviewed local town municipal ordinances and my status as a caregiver does not violate any ordinances currently in place. So if the growers are signing it and the stuff is not to code and the site plan ordinance is violated, they're a violation of the site plan ordinance.
So there's a number of code issues. Are they in compliant today?
That is
Code
something that
issues?
they've been very nicely working with us on, that I have worked with them, and compliant, so it'll go building for building, as long as we can get in and get an inspection of each one, we'll give a separate, occupancy permit for each building. So state electrical inspector will have to be inspected, we'll make sure that the egress is there, fire extinguishers, everything that we've asked them to comply with. And if it is for that building, they'll have an occupancy, and then they'll have a chance to work on the other one and get that up.
How many buildings total are there that we're talking about?
They have 2 buildings for, growing, I believe, which is the 2 original kennels. They'll have a building for housing, growers for the operation, that are their tenants, for the operation, and then, they use the garage that's next to the house for storage of materials for the grow operation.
Can I explain to them the OCP rules?
I think so, yes. Would it be okay if Mr. King addressed?
May I, I read I read very thoroughly these medical marijuana licenses that we apply from OCP, and we know it very well. Every license is allowed 1,500 square feet. 1,000 square feet is for clone. 500 square feet is for flower. So it doesn't stipulate that, even if I have a one license and I have a 3,000 square feet building, I can only utilize the 1,500. I cannot utilize any more. But OCP doesn't care about the clone because it's not the flower. So even with the flower, we have to make sure that the canopy does not exceed 500 square feet. And in no way, in any rules in the OCP rules, that we cannot have a building, say 3,000 square feet, just one license. It doesn't count as like, you have 3,000 square feet. We cannot grow over 3,000 square feet. We can only grow 500 square feet for the flower, 1,000 square feet for the clone. That's it. And
That's the state regulation.
yes, that's a state,
We're
right?
talking about municipal.
The state, yeah.
So those are 2 different things.
Well, I wouldn't know about that, but as I say, every town has their own ordinance and rules and regulation.
I mean, you'll have to bear with us. I've been on this board for, I don't remember how long, at least up 15 years. I don't remember the last time we set as an appeal for the site plan review. I don't remember the last time, so this is something somewhat new to us, and this being first introduced to us, when we get the package for this meeting, means that we don't know a lot about what's going on here. And I don't remember a time before where we actually passed something that was denied by the staff review committee. So if you'll have to bear with us as we ask questions and try to figure out what is going on. Now, yes,
What are you using the house for? Are you,
For our own personal,
that's
yes.
where you live?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
All right.
Well,
So that is also, I'm not sure if that is also being factored into the
no, it's not.
9,000 square
No, he
feet.
did not.
Oh,
he says no.
And the
Well,
trailer, of course, is also.
All those requests from Mr. Aaron Crocker, I have photographs, I've sent photographs of the new egress, you know, the photograph of where the, what do you call, the fire extinguisher is, and also whatever our electrician was able to do, to install for the exit light. I've sent in all those and whatever that is, he wants us to do, to comply with, I say, and we did, you know.
Yes.
So you have two buildings that you use for the grow operation primarily. These two buildings, they're both in excess of the 1,500 square feet, they're larger? More on
Yes.
the order
No,
of 3,000 feet?
One is about 3,000 square feet, over another about 2,800 square feet.
So how does the town determine that the portions of those buildings that are in excess of the 1,500 square feet allowed, how does the town determine that you're not using those other areas for
For grow.
some purpose related to this business? It doesn't have to be growing, it could be any
Well,
purpose
actually-
that we would consider to be part of the business when you're perhaps not considering that.
Well,
Maybe that's part of where the argument is.
Well, we certainly have no arguments, you know. What we're trying to do is to sort out the thing. The fact, 1,000 square feet is more than enough to put whatever equipment. But
Can I answer
Sure,
that
please.
question? I think how you figure that out is the old-fashioned way with the tape measure. And I think that's what Mr. Crocker has done in terms of figuring out what parts of the buildings are being used for such purpose. Am I correct about that? Yeah. So, I mean, that's how it would be done. And it would be done, and of course, in this business, you know, you subject yourself to, obviously, to code enforcement showing up whenever they want, law enforcement as well. But
and also the inspector from OCP.
yeah, that's right, that's true. So that's really the answer to the question. But, you know, Mr. King would be foolish to try to hoodwink anybody and suggest that he was using more than the 1,500 square feet in the buildings. The problem here, again, is the mobile home and then, I guess, the outbuilding or garage building that's being used for supply storage, but does that really factor into I mean, I guess that's the $1 million question. It doesn't seem like some of this stuff really is part of the operation. So, in any event.
Yeah, I really do not understand how can.
Just 1 second. For
I'd just like to add
the
that,
fire chief.
As we get into our plans review that the town's gonna be doing yearly, that includes a yearly inspection on all businesses in town. So we'll be able to actually go in there and inspect the property on a yearly basis, and if we see that it, at that time was way beyond of, you know, the 1,500 or 3,000 square feet, then we have the conversation with Mr. Kang, obviously, and let him know he has to do more licensing and that sort of thing.
Okay, we have before us the findings of fact from the staff review. And
I noticed there's a comment in there about possibly needing sprinkler protection. It's like, I'm not sure whether we're still waiting on that resolution or whether that has been determined that that's needed.
I can answer that as well. Probably by December of this year, the new NFPA standard on marijuana grow facilities will probably be in place, if it passes through legislation and that sort of thing. When that does, at that point, they will be required to put sprinkler And that was one of my concerns that I voiced to them, was I want them to be aware of that because they have spent a lot of money putting this place in. A sprinkler system costs a lot of money, and I don't know what the time frame is gonna be on that. So that was one of my personal concerns, but I've expressed that to them, they now know, so they are aware of it. That was one of my major concerns with that. I just didn't want them to go in blind and then in a year have us come back and tell them, sorry, you have to spend X amount of dollars to do this and to keep running your business, because there's no such thing as a grandfather law.
Thank you for clarifying the timing of that.
Is, question, would it be a commercial sprinkler system or like a, similar to a
Well, that's a good
residential?
question. It depends on the square footage,
Yeah,
which was another one of my concerns. In the drawings that we got, the numbers were so small, I couldn't figure out how many square feet it was, and there were no square footage. On a normal set of plans, you get, this building is X amount of square feet. We didn't get that, so that was my other concern is how big is the building, what's it being used for, and the square footage will determine the type of sprinkler system that they'll.
We did have, out of the 6 package that we submitted, there is a, what do you call, a map that is to scale. But unfortunately, the chief does not have it, only has a, what do you call, A4 size. But we do have a plan of the layout of the building in scale, which is bigger than the A4 size. So
Was that submitted when you?
yes,
That was.
there was 6 copies. Tonya I pass it to her, and because I have it that inside that package was the plan with a scale, but it was not given to the fire chief. That's why he could not even.
Now, on the findings of fact that I have from that meeting, item number 17 says the fire chief has not approved the design of the development for fire protection. Chief, do you, I know that you've worked with them or talked with them since that time. Is that still true? Is there?
So right now, as they operate, they do not need a sprinkler system because they're operating as an industrial facility, not a marijuana grow facility. There's no code for marijuana grow facility at this point. So we have to go under the industrial code. And the industrial code, they are under the square footage. But as soon as that new NFPA code comes into play, that will be what their facility is, and they'll have to meet that requirement.
And Chairman Conley, if I may, I don't know if I'm out of order at all.
No, go ahead.
Okay. I do believe that everything that was contained, there was an accompanying attachment with this decision where the fire chief expressed what his concerns were. Every one of those concerns has been addressed and has now been approved by the chief.
Correct, 100%. Yeah, we've been working together for the last 2 weeks diligently. Actually, Mr. Kang has called me on several occasions. The lawyer, I think I've spoken to you once or twice, I think. They've been great to work with. I have no complaints with the process that they're doing.
Okay, so that concern is gone.
The concern's never gone.
Okay.
Because once the code changes, they will be required to have sprinklers.
Okay.
And that's gonna be a costly, I just don't know to what extent gonna need the extinguishers too, because it hasn't passed yet. So I could read it today and tell you, it's gonna be a 13R system, which is a residential system, which is not what they're gonna have to have. They have to have a full-blown 13 system. I just don't know the answer to that. 'Cause
And it may not.
it doesn't exist. Correct, and it may not pass at all.
And even if it's passed,
So that's,
To be clear, it doesn't exclude the application being approved
yeah.
also.
And I think I wrote in there, that was just making sure that they understood that when that comes into play, or if that comes into play, they're gonna have to meet that requirement as well, which would be substantial cost to them. And I just didn't wanna go, yep, go ahead and do this, and then in a year, come back and knock on their door and tell them they have to spend thousands of dollars to put this sprinkler system in.
Okay.
That was my.
Now, the police chief is not here this evening, but in item number 18, it says the police chief has not approved security and safety design aspects of the development. have you talked with him about what his concerns were? And
He did not actually, all he just say the approved security and safety design aspect. Basically, it's all about safety and make sure that we have adequate multiple cameras, multiple motion detector, motion light detector. This is generally all across any town that the sheriff, that is their main concern. The sheriff does not comes up with a security plan. That's only the basic requirement for most, if not all, of the sheriff that we speak to and we work with. Basically, they want to make sure that all our clients, all the place of grow, they have to have multiple cameras, all four corners of building, multiple motion detector light, and this and basically that's it.
Do you have them?
We have multiple cameras and multiple motion detector, detection lights. Multiple.
Yeah, and I did note that was in there as well, but I believe this decision was basically 100% predicated upon the fire department issues, from my, in looking at it. So I have just assumed that because he addressed what the decision indicated was the holdup, that was the most important issue. But certainly, Mr. King, anything that the police chief, if he suggests it, he's gonna do it.
Yeah, if we were to, like I say, if you specify certain things that I need to do, of course, as long as it's not onerous, then it's fine, If you want me to have the kind of $10,000 cameras, that activate or whatever, really, already we are out of 75,000 out in the hole. But then we basically is reasonable, in all the town that we've been working with, our sheriff. That is only the two requirements that, of course, it has to be locked, and that is also the OCP rules and regulation. It has to be locked, multiple. But OCP doesn't care about the safety and all that, as long as you within the grow square footage, and you're dealing with all license and or whatever steps, whatever you transport or whatever, all has to be to have a paperwork for it. And as far as we deal with a lot of towns because we have a lot of clients, and these are the only three requirements from the sheriff: cameras, motion detector, and your premises have to be locked because they do have places that was been people broken and steal those marijuana. So that's it. And all of us have this app that we can look even if we're not at home. We can see whatever going on in our property anytime. And so that's my tenant.
we also have under the conclusions of law that came out of that meeting that the proposed development will result in an undue burden on the ability of the town to provide public services. Number two, public safety and utility services do not have the capacity to meet the demands of the development. And security and fire protection improvements are not designed to the satisfaction of these service providers. So we do have, you have apparently satisfied the fire chief with concerning the fire issue, and knowing also that in all likelihood you might have to add sprinklers in the
We
future.
factored that in already.
But I'm still very interested in what the police chief is referring to here, and whether or not that statement involves him. Chief, could you tell us where that came out of?
I
You know,
can't speak for the police chief.
you can't, so, okay.
That would be him.
I'm wondering, and again, I noted that as well, I'm just wondering if under conclusions of law, A and then A2, if those were just basically, reiterating what is listed under the decision, based upon the fire concerns, but I've seen nothing from the chief of police indicating that there's anything that he needs Mr. Kang to do at this point. I think that, so I mean, short of having something written here indicating what it is, I'm guessing that again, under the conclusions of law, simply refers back to the concerns that the fire chief raised. Chief Johnson was very correct to raise those issues, and you know, they were all ones that my client took very seriously.
But it's one of the normal pieces of documentation and review that are normally required for this board to do a site review. It's just part of the process.
Especially with the extra security concerns associated with such a business as is operated there.
But again, without any guidance, it's,
I think we're gonna need that information.
Security plan.
okay. Okay.
Like I said,
So,
sorry.
hang on a minute. Would it make any sense then to maybe,
stipulate,
what's that?
to stipulate it instead of just rejecting me outright.
No,
Because
no, just hang on.
No.
Just what I'm thinking is continuing things out until we get that.
We're
That's
just
what I was-
interested in doing this right.
Absolutely,
That's-
I understand.
that's what
And I
we're
don't think a week or two delay so we can coordinate with the chief of police would be a problem. Whatever the chief of police says he needs, we'll certainly comply with, again, as long as it's not just crazy town, and I can't imagine it would be.
Have you met with him? Does he have the information on
No.
your security plan?
No.
Okay, so that needs to happen.
Okay, anyone else have any questions? Again, we apologize for, this is somewhat new to us, doing this type of thing, but we do want to get it right. And like I said, I don't remember when we've ever approved anything that was denied by the staff review committee. So we want to make sure we flesh all these things out and give you definitely an opportunity to show your case. And I know as a town, occasionally people will do something without getting the proper permit or something of that nature. And typically, we have looked on it as we want to help people get right. So if the person's cooperating and they're doing what's right, the town has been willing to work with people. I know our code enforcement office has. And so we definitely look at you that way. That's how we're being told
Thank you.
you're presenting yourself. And so probably what we will do is we'll take a vote to table this for now and give us a few more weeks opportunity to gather information. And at our next meeting, we could approach this again.
we do have a problem because, like I said, our tenant, the license is going to be expired, you know, because it's sometimes March or April. So if this were we need at least a month before it expired so that we can renew their yearly license. Now, if the town does not approve it, OCP would not renew the license, and basically the shutting us down, because the process that you're saying the town is new to this, you know, but then because you need time to look at it, but then that will cause our tenant the license to be expired. And
When must he,
Yeah.
what's the date that he must?
Yeah, do you know what that date is?
I think it's in the April sometime.
sometimes they April.
So,
The beginning of,
But
This
we
would be-
have to apply a month or so earlier.
we need 7 weeks to apply in order to get it 7 weeks.
Before the expiration.
7 weeks?
Yeah.
Before the expiration of the license, we have to
You
renew
already
it.
got a problem then, because there's not 7 weeks, right? Between now and
Do
April?
you know when it is in April?
March, today is February.
April 1st is going to be expired, so.
Okay, April
So
1st.
right now, it's supposed, it's time for me for them to review the license. It's time for them to review the license.
And if the town does not approve or just like, have to wait until to make a decision, our tenant, our clients, they are not in compliance.
You don't have 7 weeks between.
No.
now
We should be,
and the
yeah,
first.
we should be applying right now, in fact.
If it was the end of
So
April.
they can't comply with 7 weeks, even if it was 10.
So what he's noticing is there's not even 7 weeks now.
We can try to expedite, we can explain to them that what we are trying, what's happening, and they do take our explanation. But they would not allow it to lapse, past that date, and we have to be in
We can
compliance.
deal with
Our next meeting is March 3rd.
Okay. And I think as long as we had a decision by March 3rd, I
Yes.
think you could explain that away to,
Try talking to the bureaucrats, so.
yeah, tell me about it.
And
Yeah.
It is what it is.
So the only issue that I can see here is if there's just not a lot of cooperation between, and I can come in here next time we meet and say, look, I reached out to the chief, I haven't gotten any feedback back from the chief. I just,
We will send a letter to the chief,
okay.
okay? We'll send a letter to the chief and we'll go from there. We did do something for you, by the way. We had a second meeting this month just for you, okay?
Thank you.
So
Thank you.
otherwise, you would have been waiting till March 3rd.
Right.
So anyway, so.
So you're going to contact I don't have to do that myself, you guys
Well,
will?
I would still reach out to him.
I
yes.
will, for
But
sure.
we'll send a letter to see if he can elucidate us on his concern about the safety issues.
He's gonna wanna have a detailed safety plan from you. If
Yes.
you don't have that written out for him, then.
But you have
need
to
to get to
specify,
work.
you have to specify what kind,
Well,
like,
they're gonna wanna know where the security cameras are, that's what the chief's gonna want, he's gonna want to know where the security cameras are, what you have for motion detecting systems,
yes.
what you have for locks on the doors, on
Yes.
the windows.
No
those-
windows.
But yeah, well, those are the things that he would want to know about, what you have for an alarm system.
well, if he,
And he does have all of that. So, everything that any normal police chief in the state of Maine that I've
yes.
ever dealt with, he's gone far above and beyond what you'd see in most grow operations already. So we'll provide that to the chief of police,
course.
and then, the board will reach out to him to, just explain to them what he's looking for, and we should be in good shape.
Well, we thank you, we,
I got
you got a question?
on your licensing, is there any, I carry a few state licenses with me, and usually there is an expiration date, and then there is a period of time where you can spend more money and get the same license.
Like an
At a
extension.
later date,
No.
is there any of that in that, in
no,
that
they are
organization?
not, the OCP are very strict. Therefore, we also have to follow their rules and regulations strictly.
I find
No,
it
no, they can't.
surprising that a bureaucratic outfit such as it is, they would refuse it.
No,
They got election money.
under the rules and regulations,
To
what
see-
kind
to-
of, no,
to
there
see-
isn't.
But it might see you through this dilemma if you talk with them.
Nah.
No? Okay.
No?
If we can just get it dealt with at the next, if it's March 3rd, is that the
Yep.
date?
As-
March 3rd.
As long as I have the police chief,
The first Tuesday.
which is normal, like if I'm not opening a bank, I'm not having a vault, it's a grow. It's a medical cannabis grow house. What kind of security do I need to post? An armed security there, which would be onerous. We have to be reasonable because there are thousands of recreational and medical marijuana grow. We just have to be like just common sense.
I think, God willing, the chief
Of course,
We're
but
not
just think,
trying to tell you your business. We're trying to get you to conform to your requirements.
which I'm trying my out
Not
best.
from us, from the other people.
I understand, but as you can see that, well documented that I'm trying to go above and beyond.
We
So-
look forward to seeing you in a couple weeks.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Okay, do we need an actual motion to,
Yeah, I move that we table
Until
until
the
we
next
get
meeting?
they can get all the necessary information that they,
okay, do we have a second?
You got it?
Any discussion about it? Seeing none, we'll vote. All those in favor? Okay, it's tabled until next meeting.
And do we have, just one last question, doesn't have to be on the record, but any idea when that note, or I don't know if it's an email or a letter, when that would go to the chief?
It'll go this week.
This week, okay.
Chief's not on vacation or anything, is he?
I don't think, I
No,
don't
it's- that would be complication.
When you go to the Bahamas in a couple weeks?
Okay,
Thank you very much.
items by public.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
good luck.
Communications, unfinished business, new business, nothing. No selectmen here tonight.
Thank you.
Department heads.
And to head for that.
Chief, do you have anything for us tonight? Aaron? Okay. And Jeanette?
Nothing?
Dan? Randy?
This project doesn't really have anything to do with planning. Yes, but, I walk my dog twice a day. And I was walking him out to Somerset Woods on the Russell. But they're logging in there, they're cutting out all the ash and the beach. So, can't walk out there anymore. So I've been down at the park. Is there any reason why the town doesn't plow a walkway around through there, like sidewalk plow? Is that something you'd have to bring before the?
Over in Park?
Yeah, I go down
The
there.
guy that does
and have to.
the sidewalks, just drive up there.
I don't think it's the town that takes care of that. I mean,
Really?
we own it,
I think
but
there's a Coburn
There's a-
Park trustees or
Right.
something like that.
I was just kind of curious, because it is a nice place to walk around. Nice building, Baldy goes there. But
Sunny Woods.
You won't wait.
it's true.
Is that everything?
In the meantime.
Yeah, that's it for me.
Regine will keep
Andy?
the trail down.
Well, I have been beating it down.
Do you have anything?
Yeah, I actually have a small thing. So regarding the solar ordinance update, where we left it was there's a survey that Melanie created, and my understanding is that we're waiting for review and approval before we send that out. We can post that on the KV Cog website regarding the solar ordinance. So we can talk about this more at next or 2 weeks from now meeting. But I'm gonna send out the solar ordinance survey for you guys to review the questions of, so we can get some feedback on that. That's where we're at with that.
Okay, sounds good. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Run for
Got
that.
a second? All those in favor? We are adjourned.
See you all shortly.
Yeah.
What are you gonna do with yours?